Hey guys, welcome back to TFD. All right, let's talk about this because this is very relevant. We have the legend herself, Mama Bluder, aka Iowa's head coach and Caitlin Clark's coach for a long time, now chiming in and laying down the law. She's essentially telling why Stephanie White cannot coach Caitlin Clark. And if you've been following along, this shouldn't surprise you at all. Y'all remember when Lisa Bluder spoke out during the Christy Sides tenure, when Caitlin Clark was being constrained, overcoached, and relegated? Finally, after Sides got out of the way, a GOAT will do what a GOAT does, take over. Well, the same here. Lisa Bluder is telling it like it is. Stephanie White has got to get on the program. But come on, credit to Angry Fan Sports for stating it simply, right? You can't put Caitlin Clark into a system. Caitlin Clark is the system. You learn how to work around her, or you will fail. Period. Here it says, Lisa Bluder reveals the two biggest challenges of coaching Caitlin Clark. Former Iowa Hawkeyes head coach Lisa Bluder got real about the reality of coaching Caitlin Clark. Now, here said, it's wild to remember that less than 2 years ago, Caitlin Clark was still playing college basketball at the University of Iowa. Given all that Clark has already experienced and accomplished in the WNBA since that time, her iconic college career feels like ages ago. Although it's impossible not to think back upon these days fondly, when number 22 was setting NCAA records and leading the Hawkeyes to 2 consecutive national championship games, let's be real for 1 second. You can't compare what Paige, all these other players are doing at UConn to what Caitlin Clark did at Iowa. UConn is about to win another national championship, and Paige isn't even there. That's what UConn does. They won with Maya Moore. They won after Maya Moore left. Same story with Diana Taurasi. That program reloads. Iowa does not. Lumping in the fact that Caitlin Clark dragged Iowa to back-to-back national title games is absolutely insane. No stacked roster, no dynasty machine, just her. So yeah, let's stop pretending those situations are the same, shall we? Here said, the person who got the best access to Clark during these developmental college years was Lisa Bluder, her Iowa head coach. Bluder retired from coaching after Clark's senior season in 2024, and her longtime assistant, Jan Jensen, took the program over. And yet Jan Jensen also doing good job. While Bluder has been seen at Iowa games and is still a part of the Midwest women's basketball scene, she occasionally does color commentary on the Big Ten Network. She has certainly been out of the spotlight more than she was as a head coach, especially during Clark's 4-year tenure in Iowa City. Here said, Lisa Bluder details the hardest part of coaching Caitlin Clark. 2 aspects, really. First, during COVID, there was nobody in the stands. It was hard to build relationships because of the isolation. To get her to become a good leader, it took time because she was so used to doing everything on her own. But she learned it, and she learned it really well, Bluder said. Second, and at the end of her career, there was so much noise. All of the people that wanted a piece of her. I'm amazed at how she handled it. She didn't get a big head. She was still a goofy kid instead of becoming a prima donna, she added. Here she said, Bluder has expressed in the past that it took Clark some time to warm up to her Hawkeyes teammates as a freshman before blossoming into a great leader. And her stance on Clark being able to block out all the noise that came during her upperclassmen years also makes sense. Several of Clark's teammates with the Indiana Fever have spoken about her goofy side, which Bluder also alluded to. It's awesome to hear that Clark has managed to keep this aspect of her personality intact, given the platform and pressure that she constantly has to deal with. All right, let me be very clear about this. Lisa Bluder has been the gold standard. Mama Bluder understood Caitlin Clark better than anyone, and honestly, I wish she was still interested in coaching because it's painfully obvious that Stephanie White does not know what she's doing with Caitlin Clark. At one point, you had Caitlin Clark playing small forward. Small forward! That alone tells you everything. You took the ball out of the best decision maker, the best shooter, the engine of the entire offense, and stuck her on the wing? That's basketball malpractice. Then we keep hearing this talk about Kelsey Mitchell is the priority. Kelsey Mitchell was the priority last year too. And guess what? That didn't stop Caitlin Clark from transforming the entire franchise. This constant insistence tells me Stephanie White doesn't understand balance or hierarchy. Caitlin Clark isn't just another guard. You build everything around her. Let's not rewrite history. The Indiana Fever had the #1 offense, especially after the Olympic break. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell were putting on shows. Aaliyah Boston was feasting inside, and this team was dropping 100 points like clockwork. And you come in and decide to change the entire offense? Why? There was no reason to touch what was already working. Instead, the focus suddenly shifts to Ari McDonald, who was essentially out of the league before the season started. That doesn't add up. Then you bring in Natasha Howard, and suddenly she's talking about winning MVP. That didn't come out of nowhere. Promises were clearly made to veterans to get them to sign on. Same thing with DeWanna Bonner. Money taken, situation goes sideways, and she forces her way out to Phoenix anyway. Stephanie White played a role in all of that chaos. And then, on top of it, she turns around and takes shots at Caitlin Clark's fan base, calling them toxic. Stop it. Nobody forced you to come here. You knew exactly what this fan base was about. That narrative is false. Fans aren't toxic. They hold people accountable, and certain coaches don't like being questioned. Bottom line, I'll say it again. Stephanie White is not the coach for Caitlin Clark. I know it. You know it, and there's no point in pretending otherwise. That's just the truth. Let's get into some of the other comments Lisa Bluder made on this situation, because I find them extremely valuable.
We're going to hang a banner up there on Sunday, and I mean, you could unfurl that thing and have the records on it, and it'd probably go down to that baseline. Is there anything about Caitlin, though, even removed from Iowa City and Indiana now, that still wows you? What's the wow factor for you, Caitlin Clark? Because almost nobody knows her better than you, probably.
Well, to me, I don't know if it's an oh wow moment. I get some oh wow moments when I see her on commercials. You know, that's kind of weird to me. Or see her with Taylor Swift. You know, those are oh wow moments. You know, but I guess the thing that impresses me the most is that she's still Caitlin. That none of this has changed her. No records, no success, no whatever it is. It hasn't changed her, and she's still good old, goofy, fun Caitlin.
Yeah, it comes off that way. Like it's the amount of spotlight that's on. You could make the argument she's the most famous athlete in the world right now, and you'd think like that has to shift somebody. But yeah, you're right. I don't think you've seen any of that. It seems like at least in the spotlight, she's Caitlin.
I agree completely. I think she will continue to keep her feet grounded. I think her parents have a lot to do with it.
You guys sold out across the spectrum, record ticket prices. I mean, the growth just kept going. Every time you thought there was a ceiling, you guys just broke right through it. Let's talk about what are it's not just a Clarkonomics. There are other factors that probably help drive that, I would think. Or was it just an individual phenomenon based on a generational player? What are the factors that you think created Clarkonomics?
Well, I do think that she is a generational player and people were attracted to that. I think that, you know, she played with a passion and a joy and a just lack of fear of failure that people were attracted to. They kind of wanted to be like Caitlin in that aspect. And so I think, you know, she was the right player, but I also, you know, here we just tore down social media. I do think social media had a huge role in promoting her. And we have a great social media team at the University of Iowa. They do an unbelievable job. And I think that helped generate the excitement about her. Also, television exposure. The more people got to see us play, the more they fell in love with her. They fell in love with the style of play of our team and of other women on our team. I mean, Kate Martin's having a fabulous year right now for the Aces.
That style of play was must-see basketball. No question about it. Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark keep playing free, fast, and aggressive because that's when she's at her best. But for some reason, they brought in a head coach who believes in the complete opposite style of basketball. That's the frustrating part. Now we'll see how this whole thing plays out. Much love to Lisa Bluder, man. I honestly wish she was still coaching, and even more, I wish she was coaching the Indiana Fever right now. But instead, we're stuck with boneheaded decisions from Stephanie White. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.